You've tuned into The Mountain Gardener with your host, Ken Lain. Gardening it can be challenging, but with these simple insider tips, you'll reap huge rewards. Now, let's tune into today's Mountain Gardener with Ken and Lisa. So, if you are new to gardening in the mountains of Arizona, you'll find there are some distinct seasons. It's more than just four: spring, summer, fall, winter. It's actually spring, summer, fall, winter, plus there's an early spring season where things that love bright sun, but still it's frosty, maybe even some snow. That's early spring. That's March and April. Then we've been into spring. June I defined as its own month. It's perennial month because this is when all the perennials start to erupt and bloom. So before this, we had some perennials and they were pretty. They smelled good. They come back every year for years of enjoyment. But some of them were just green blobs. They didn't look that good yet. They weren't quite blooming. June, that all changes. Everything is in bloom. All the things that were in spring are blooming, and now all the summer, the things that just love bright, hot, sunny, windy days, they're not blooming. So before you were buying perennials by the little tag, trying to figure out what size peony is that, to what color. You can't smell them because they aren't open yet. You can't smell a scratch. They don't make scratch and sniff plant tags. Maybe that's not a bad idea. Right now, the peonies, they're blooming. You can actually see the color, touch them, smell them, and all the other summer varieties. The hostas, they were up and looking good, but now they're big and bright and bold and in bloom. They're amazing. Salvias, we had a few of them, and as soon as they started blooming, they would sell. The rest of them were green. Well, now the entire block will have 100 of them show up in 5 different colors, and they're all in bloom. And so the hummingbirds are all over those things. That's why June is its own month. I guess I should keep explaining. So you had early spring season, perennial month, June. You've got summer planting season. That's crepe myrtles and rosa sharons. The roses go back into bloom. They're celebrating the monsoon rains. They just love everything about warm and some rains. That's them. Fall color. So fall aspens turn gold, the maples turn red, and then winter evergreens. So really, I define we've got 6 very distinct seasons you see at the garden center, and the product will change. The plants showing up will change. Like I had 6, 7, 10 different varieties of lilac in the spring back in February and March. Now I've got 2, but I've got 7 varieties of crepe myrtles. I've got 6 different types of hibiscus, hardy ones and tropical ones. So we're shifting over to that summer mix. So you'll see the crop rotations. We have to decide. Like right now, I'm trying to decide how many do I have for next spring. We're trying to decide our tomato count for next year. How'd it go? Which varieties? We're making those strategic alignments now, and then we'll go get our seed or our plugs or our cuttings and start to grow those out. And once you're out of those, it's done. There's no more. You can't grow. It takes a year. A peony can take up to 5 years to grow, to flush out all those great big Ito peonies, the ones with the flowers as big as your hand. They get up hip high. They're big. They take up to 5 years before they're old enough to start to bloom. So many perennials need to be of a certain age. Typically, they are at least 2 years old or older. That's why your perennial plants, that's those flowers that come back year after year. So perennial and permanent both start with P. Annuals live for the year, the annual, annum, and then they die in the winter, typically. So annuals and perennials. Perennials are the ones you really want to go with because you plant it once and you're done. It comes back for years. A peony can live up to 50 years. It's one of the longest lived of all the perennial flowers you'll ever find. In fact, if you kept taking cuttings, you could probably get it to grow indefinitely if it's in a happy place. And so it does really well here. You're starting to see the summer and fall grasses. So ornamental grass, not lawn. You're not going to mow it and play soccer with the kids on it. These are big, showy, beautiful, flowing grasses, these ornamental grass. We're famous for those up here at this elevation. Well, in the spring, they were cut back and they were starting to look green. And then in the spring season, they started to come. They look green, but weren't blooming. Now, the month of June, they start to actually look full, and they've got those great big plumes at the top, and they will only become more glorious. If you were thinking about putting perennials in the garden, now's the time. An interesting fact. I don't think this is just Waters Garden Center, Prescott, Arizona, or Arizona. I'm talking to friends around the country, and we're finding a phenomena happening. People are shifting from annual flowers, and our perennial departments, our perennial, like we have, I don't know how many thousands of square feet of nothing but perennials, shade lovers, javelina proof, deer proof, sun lovers. We'll take the wind, loves butterflies. We break them down, we curate them so that they're easier to shop, less mysterious. And so we're finding across the country, more gardeners are shifting their flower purchases over to perennials. So annual departments are flat or down. So that's the begonias and geraniums and cosmos and all these things that bloom like crazy for a year and then they die in the winter. They might reseed, they might come back, but they won't come back from the root. Perennials can hibernate underground through the winter, but they come back fresh from the ground, big, beautiful. You take a Mashuto hibiscus. This is that hibiscus with the flower that's bigger than your hand, but it's perennial. It hibernates underground. It gets up 4x4, at least 3x3, about hip high by hip wide. It's magnificent, huge, gigantic flowers, bright pink, bright reds, bright whites. And then it hibernates underground. Its cousin, the Rose of Sharon, is also a hibiscus. This is a big plant. It's a shrub. It's a perennial, but it doesn't die back to the ground. It gets gigantic. So it'll easily get up head high. If you just let it go without ever pruning it, it can go up to 8 to 10 feet. Isn't that beautiful? Just hundreds and hundreds of hibiscus flowers. They're a bit smaller. They're kind of like baseball size instead of as big as your hand. But they make up for it in just sheer quantity. I've literally had at one of my gardens, the Rose of Sharon loaded up with so many flowers. I mean, I gave it a lot of fertilizer, gave it a lot of phosphorus. I nursed it along, I babied it, and she wanted to bloom. She had so many flowers. I had to stake her. She fell over. So I just went, I've got too many flowers. I can't take any more. Boom, fell over the wind. Staked it back up, and it just bloomed its head off through fall. That's the hardiest of all the hibiscus. Rose of Sharon. There's lots of colors, double flowers, single flowers. There's some with red center, some with blue center, some with white. There's a lot of varieties. Then you've got your Mashutos or hardy hibiscus that hibernate underground. And then you've got your tropical hibiscus. These are the ones you folks in San Diego, Hawaii, Phoenix, and they love the sun. They bloom from here through the end of the year. They just keep blooming and blooming. They're always setting great big flowers, rich, velvety texture to them, glossy, rich green leaves. There's nothing there's literally no other plant like a tropical hibiscus. But you need to plant it in a container. It needs to be on the deck. It needs to be on the patio, the entrance, someplace on either side of the garage. It needs to be outside in a container. Because come about Halloween, you're going to bring that thing indoors and treat it like a houseplant. So you want to keep it where it's maintained. It's got a haircut. Keep it where it can come indoors. And the insider tip with tropical hibiscus, don't let them shut down inside the house. Put them in a bright room, your brightest room in the house, and cut it back. Give it a haircut before you bring it in. Fertilize it. The internet says stop watering, stop fertilizing, let it lose its leaves and shut down. Don't do that. When you take it back outdoors next spring, it just takes too long for them to power back up. Keep them blooming in the house. That's the insider tip. with tropical hibiscus, and they will come back, put them back out in the spring of next year, and they will just ignite with new growth. I mean, they'll have more flowers than you've ever dreamed of. They love growing outdoors at this elevation, but they have to winter over inside the house.
Waters Garden companion plants for June are moonshine yarrow, silverberry, Hall's honeysuckle, and sunburst locust.
Sunburst locust cheerfully shouts, "Hello, spring," with its glowing yellow leaves.
As summer heats up, it settles down to a naturally cool green, only to turn gold again in the autumn.
This Waters exclusive casts a dappled shade, perfect for reading books or sharing an outdoor meal, and impervious to deer.
You'll find the coolest trees here at Waters Garden Center, 1815 Iron Springs Road in Prescott.
For a more fruitful garden, increased success in the landscape that just feels better, then tune in daily to the Mountain Gardener podcast. Subscribe through your favorite podcast streamer or visit watersgardencenter.com. Better yet, visit me directly right here at Waters Garden Center. Thanks for tuning in.